Welcome and good evening. This is supposed to be fun for everyone. I'm Fred Lummis, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Baylor College of Medicine, and on behalf of the board, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2018 graduation ceremony. We're pleased you could join us for this special occasion, which marks an important milestone in the lives of the women and men who will graduate this evening. The Baylor Board is comprised of business, community, and healthcare leaders who are deeply committed to the success of Baylor College of Medicine. Like you, we take great pride in being part of this institution. At this time, I'd like to introduce the members of the Board of Trustees who are with us this evening. Please hold your applause until they are all introduced. Barbara Albritton, Dr. John Anderson, Greg Brenneman, who is out here somewhere. There you are. Jody Giles, and William Robbins. Please join me. 7 members of the board serve on our Academic Affairs Committee to ensure that we are well connected to both trainees and faculty. It's an honor for each of us to be part of a health sciences university that is training tomorrow's leaders in healthcare and research. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to offer my best wishes to the graduates for much success as you continue in the next step of your careers. We look forward to celebrating your achievements as you become Baylor College of Medicine alumni. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Paul Klopman, the President, CEO, and Executive Dean at Baylor. Dr. Klopman was appointed to this leadership role in 2010. He's an outstanding physician, a dedicated educator, and a nationally recognized scientist, making him the ideal leader for Baylor. He developed an ambitious vision for the school when he arrived, which has led to Baylor being ranked among the nation's elite medical schools in the country. Dr. Klopman has set a high standard for excellence and is a visionary leader who understands the importance of academic medicine in our society. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Paul Klopman.
Thank you, Fred. Baylor's outstanding educational programs involve many efforts of many people. Joining me on stage are the Baylor department chairs and center directors, the deans, associate deans, assistant deans of our 4 schools, and Dr. George Perry, the president of the Baylor Alumni Association. These leaders, along with the Baylor faculty and administration, the leaders of our affiliated hospitals, and our alumni all play vital roles in Baylor's educational mission. Will the members of the faculty and administration, both on the stage and in the audience, as well as our affiliated hospital leaders and all of our alumni, please stand up for a round of applause. Thank you. Your families and loved ones, they are the ones that were suffering in silence behind you. And I think it's only appropriate that you all stand up and turn to them and give them a round of applause. Yeah, you can sit down. You have no idea how excited they are. The funds flow may change for them. I know there are a lot of fathers and mothers out there hoping. Anyway, besides all of us, there's also the community in Houston that support you, and you should really recognize that this city has been incredibly supportive of your growth as students and soon-to-be physicians and PhDs. I want to focus just a few minutes on the importance of community as you take this next step in your careers. Parents, you may not recognize, but this is the 75th year that Baylor College of Medicine has been in Houston. We moved from Dallas in 1943, and we have been an integral part of Houston's transition into one of the great cities of America. From the day we arrived, we became part of the community, and we have worked with leaders of the city and county to solve very, very complex educational and healthcare problems. During your training at Baylor, we created a new mission statement that now includes a focus on community service locally and globally. We did this with a lot of thought about what our institutional responsibility is to our community and what responsibility we have as individuals to our community, but also to our family, our parents, and our friends. Shortly after updating our mission statement, I created a paid volunteer time off policy in recognition of the contributions that Baylor employees make in the community. This policy provides faculty and staff with an additional 8 hours of time per year. We pay them to volunteer with the organization of their choice. When Hurricane Harvey hit Houston last year, we had opportunities to be part of a major volunteer effort focused on community recovery. There were physicians and medical staff who volunteered to take care of patients at shelters. There were scientists who created research protocols to understand the potential health issues for those exposed to floodwaters. And there were faculty, staff, and trainees who focused on opening our labs and our clinics just 4 days after the storm had passed. We were the first medical center and school to open up after Harvey. Many of you receiving degrees tonight helped in the recovery by volunteering in the medical center or at the home of those in the Baylor community who suffered a lot of damage and needed an extra set of hands. And on top of that, there were many stories of members of the Baylor community who helped out in other ways, opening their homes, donating clothing, volunteering their time, rescuing people with boats, collecting medical supplies, and the list goes on. I'll never forget the picture of my gastroenterologist in a boat saving people, and I was supposed to see him the next day. I decided to call it off. But anyway, it's an amazing thing, and our community responded so quickly. Being an active part of your community means building relationships. And it is those relationships that ultimately help bridge the gaps in cultural diversity, access to health care, limited educational opportunities, and other social justice issues that exist today in rural and urban areas nationwide. Baylor graduates are defined as those with great intellect, but also with great compassion and vision for making a difference in the world. Discovering how you want to make a difference takes a while. It takes some time. When you find that special part of community involvement that inspires your passion, it will give you a new perspective that I think will actually influence your work-life balance in a very positive way. Always remember that you need a positive work-life balance in your career and with your family, but community involvement is one way to find that balance, and it's one that we really strive for here at Baylor College of Medicine. Your training at Baylor has given you all the tools that you need to be successful. I am confident that whatever your career takes you, that each of you will make a difference in the communities that you work in and where you serve. In addition to the degrees I will confer upon you tonight, we will also present leadership awards and honorary degrees to outstanding individuals who have each created a legacy of excellence on their own. These honorees were carefully selected to serve as role models for the kind of leaders we have prepared you to become. Each has made phenomenal contributions that have enriched their communities, advanced science, and improved health. Just like you, they began their careers with goals and dreams, and they turned them into reality. I encourage you to envision what you can accomplish in your career and pursue those goals with the same passion as tonight's awardees have done. I'm now pleased to invite Dr. Mark Tanner, representing the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, to offer remarks on behalf of tonight's PhD graduates.
Thank you for that introduction. And I would first like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the students of both the medical and the graduate schools who are graduating here today. And I'm honored to address you all on behalf of the 2018 graduating class of the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. As I'm sure all the graduates here can attest to, getting to this point has not been easy, and it has certainly not been straightforward. Throughout all of our pursuits as graduate students, including all those long hours of studying for exams, the seemingly endless days of tediously working away in the lab, and in the case of this year, picking up after a devastating hurricane and continuing on with our studies. I'm sure we have all been asked, in one way or another, why is it that you're even trying to get a PhD? And from the outside, this seems like a pretty reasonable question, and throughout all those long hours of working away in the lab, it's easy to lose sight of why you're even trying to attain a doctorate in the first place. But when I've been in times of doubt, I think about a quote from the great American inventor and scientist, George Washington Carver. He once said, "I am a dreamer who dreams, sees visions, and listens always to the still, small voice. I am the trailblazer." For me, this statement encompasses a lot of the notions about what a career within the biomedical sciences entails. To be a scientist nowadays is to be someone who can base their career on asking abstract questions and thinking about concepts in novel and innovative ways, and following their instincts, all in the pursuit of expanding our knowledge in ways that can one day better humankind. In other words, it's to be a trailblazer. And while this may sound a bit naive, and it may sound a bit idealistic, there has been one particular experience I've had as a graduate student working in a biomedical research lab that gives me some hope that this can actually be true. Throughout all of our studies, doing our dissertation research, where, as all the graduate students know, you go through long periods of time when none of your hypotheses seem to be correct, and none of your experiments are working for no apparent reason. And that hope of finishing that dissertation starts to wane just a little bit. Experiences that I know every graduate student has gone through one time or another. There are these punctuated moments when you actually make a discovery. And no matter how large or small that discovery is, there's this intangible feeling you get in knowing that for one brief moment, you are the only person in the entire world, or the entire universe even, who knows this one particular insight. And for me, working within the biomedical sciences, this feeling is only enhanced by knowing that someday this discovery that you made can maybe change our fundamental understanding of a disease process, or maybe it'll provide the basis for the development of a new therapy to treat a chronic disease, Or maybe it'll even provide that one critical clue for how to cure a previously incurable disease. Someone asked, why is it that I chose to become a scientist, and why is it that I chose to go through all this to get a PhD? I can point to these moments that I've had as a graduate student and state that I am working to become a trailblazer, and that I am working to become a part of that next generation of great thinkers, working to improve the lives of humankind by expanding our knowledge about health and disease. And I'm sure that every graduate here has a different reason as to why they sought to get their PhDs and go through all this work to get their doctorates. But I'm sure that those reasons include being able to ask those abstract questions and to be able to make those great discoveries and to be a part of that next generation of great trailblazers. And I have the hope and conviction that all of our studies and our training here at Baylor have provided us with the foundation to make that a reality. So with that, I would just like to say once more congratulations to all the graduates, and I wish you all the best. Thanks.
Now I'd like to invite Justin Cardenas, president of the class of 2018, to share remarks on behalf of tonight's medical school graduates. Justin?
Dear classmates and colleagues, what an amazing evening this is. All of our hard work has culminated with the celebration with our families, friends, and mentors. I see happiness all around me, the same happiness we had when we knew we were going to Baylor and knew we were going to be doctors or scientists. Well, we're finally here. We are doctors. Let's reflect on what this achievement really, really means. Think back to when you were a kid. Who did you idolize? Think back when you're 8 years old and who your idols were at that time. Maybe they came from novels, movies, or comic books. Perhaps you wanted to be Superman, Wonder Woman, Hermione Granger, Harry Potter, Goku, or J.J. Watt. I wanted to be Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. We loved these heroes because they served and protected humanity. They were symbols of a selfless good, putting others above themselves. What we surely could not appreciate as 8-year-olds was that these heroes are more than just agents of selfless good. There was a person with struggles, ambition, interest, and personal relationships behind these symbols. I imagine that these same forces that attracted us to our childhood heroes motivated us to go to medicine and be doctors. Since in our reality, those of us working to improve the health of others, whether as physicians, scientists, nurses, PAs, or therapists of all sorts, are motivated by the same integrity, honor, and compassion that motivate our childhood heroes. And we, like our heroes, are willing to sacrifice some of ourselves to people we have never met, simply because they need help, and we can help them. Our hero stories rarely give us insight into the personal cost of our hero sacrifices, or if they did, we're too young to understand these subtleties. However, as we join the noble profession of medicine, the Justice League of Healthcare, of which we as doctors are just one type of many types of heroes for our patients, we need to remember that we are so much more than scrubs and white coats. We have interests and talents outside medicine: music, theater, art, religious practices, cooking or baking. We have families and might be a spouse or be part of a close-knit community of friends. These interests and relationships came together to motivate us to become doctors in the first place. They forged the meaning we found in medicine. Let's not lose sight of the essence of who we are. If our entire identities become subsumed by the white coat, we'll lose the spark that got us here in the first place, the source of our compassion, caring, and selfless love. We need to continue nurturing these elements in our lives in order to continue serving as viable members of the Justice League of Healthcare. We have achieved our childhood dreams and will soon wield medications and scalpels and compassion as our weapons to defeat the evil diseases that befall our patients. But don't forget that in order to put on the MDs for good use, we must make sure we don't forget the essence of the person in front of that MD. So congratulations to y'all, and thank you, and good luck.
Thank you, Justin. I knew I was never going to be J.J. Watt, so I wanted to be Bob Lefkowitz. Just saying. Okay, it's my pleasure now to recognize tonight's recipients of the distinguished awards and honorary degrees, beginning with the Presidential Award for Excellence. Dr. Hugo Bellin, if you would step up, Hugo. Dr. Hugo Bellin is a professor at Baylor College of Medicine in the departments of molecular and human genetics and neuroscience. He holds the March of Dimes Chair in Developmental Biology and is a Howard Hughes Medical Institute investigator. He was also a critical partner in the founding of the Jan and Dan Duncan Neurologic Research Institute at Texas Children's Hospital. He is an internationally recognized scientist for his research that has led to seminal advances in the fields of genetics, developmental biology, and neuroscience through innovative research with fruit flies. Dr. Bellin is a strong leader in Baylor's Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. He has trained and mentored numerous graduate students in the field of developmental biology who are now outstanding scientists in other academic centers. For those in academic medicine, one of the greatest personal achievements is to see trainees become successful in their career. And this is what really separates Hugo Bellin from the rest of the faculty. He is an amazing mentor. And it is my pleasure to present Dr. Bellin with the Presidential Award for excellence and recognition of his leadership in both research and research mentoring. Congratulations, Hugo. It is now my honor to announce the recipients of the Baylor College of Medicine honorary degrees who represent excellence in our missions and serve as an inspiration to all of us as well as to our graduates. The people we chose to honor speak volumes about our expectations for you, our graduates. Dr. David Perce, will you please join me? Dr. Perce is the Physician Director of the City of Houston Emergency Medical Services. As Houston's public health authority, he is responsible for the medical aspects of clinical care, quality management, disease control, and public health preparedness, which ranges from responding to the pandemic flu to assisting with major sporting events and the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. As the Houston EMS Director, he has led the public health response during multiple natural disasters, including the care of evacuees following Hurricane Katrina and managing medical care in shelters after Tropical Storm Allison, Hurricanes Rita, Ike, and most recently Harvey. I mean, this guy has got to be tired by now. Just hours after Hurricane Harvey passed through Houston, he was working to coordinate medical care for the thousands of people arriving at the convention center with a broad range of medical needs. And if you'll recall, the anticipation was there might be 2,000 people there, and that was the sort of threshold to open the center. There were 10,000 people who were there. Dr. Perce is dedicating to assuring the Houstonians needing care during emergencies have access to quality care delivered in a coordinated manner, and we are very proud to work with him in this endeavor. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Baylor College of Medicine, I confer upon David E. Perce the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities in Medicine and admit you to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges.
Dr. Klopman, members of the Board of Directors, distinguished guests, and the class of 2018. Thank you. I'm very humbled by this degree. I think that it says a number of things, though, about Baylor. Number one, as Dr. Klopman pointed out, it is one of the objectives of Baylor that the students recognize the importance of community service. I want to tell you firsthand that during Hurricane Harvey and during previous disasters that we've had here in Houston, Baylor has always been there. During disasters, the media follows all kinds of events, and very often it's the good things that happen right that don't get the attention. Baylor has always been there. During Hurricane Harvey, I can speak firsthand to a phone call was made, and Baylor quickly responded, and we needed physicians, and they were there at the George R. Brown. Dr. Banu, Dr. Shah, Dr. Bala, Dr. McDivitt, and many more who I don't have time to mention, but they were there. My good friend Claire Bassett, Vice President, was there whenever I had a unique problem for which there seemed to be no answer, but that Baylor might have an idea or might have a resource, and I would make that phone call, and several minutes later, we would have figured out a response. And the thing is that Baylor stepped up and literally stepped into the trenches, and so the class of 2018 recognized that you are a member of a community, you are a member of a big family, and that it is upon our shoulders as physician leaders in the community to step up when those challenges face us. And with families, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my own family, my wife Beverly, my daughters Carrie and Courtney, my cousins and their families, for all the support and inspiration that they have provided me, for without that, very little would actually get done. Thank you.
Justin James Watt is in his 8th season as defensive end for the Houston Texans. Since arriving in Houston, he has been an active part of this community and consistently looked for ways to help others and make a difference in their lives. In 2010, he founded the Justin J. Watt Foundation, a charity organization that provides after-school opportunities for children in various communities to get involved in athletics in a safe environment. The foundation also is committed to assisting Houston and surrounding communities with flood relief efforts. Following the devastation of Hurricane Harvey last year, JJ wanted to help those impacted by the storm and began with the goal of raising $200,000 to help Harvey victims. People from around the world responded with donations, and he ultimately raised more than $37 million to help with recovery efforts. And I want the graduates to hear this. He recently wrote, and I quote him, "If you have the power to make someone happy, do it. The world needs more of that." That's a simple but very key and powerful message from a great community leader. So upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Baylor College of Medicine, I confer upon Justin James Watt the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities in Medicine and admit you to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges, and good luck with the hooding.
I've had a lot of big dreams in my life, but not even I ever dreamt I'd become a doctor one day. There's one thing that I learned throughout everything that happened throughout Hurricane Harvey, and that's the power of tapping into the inherent good that lies within humanity. There's a lot of negativity out in the world, whether it's on the news, whether it's day to day, whether it's an attitude when you wake up in the morning. But the one thing that I know, I've seen it firsthand, is that there's also a whole lot of good. There's a whole lot of positivity, and there's a whole lot of people out there who truly care about their fellow human. And to me, that gives me hope. That gives me excitement. Because if we can tap into that, there are so many beautiful things we can do with this world. And that's my challenge to you. You guys have all done incredible things, and you're going to go on to do even more incredible things. But what I challenge you to do is to help bring out that inherent good in everyone around you. Help be that positive light. Help be that person that everybody else wants to be around. And help be that energy that takes this world into an even better place. Because if we all do a little bit, we all do our part, we can truly change the world, one person at a time. Congratulations, and thank you guys very much.
Notice I hit it. Now, our next recipient is unfortunately not here for a personal issue, but we still wanted to recognize her. She's also from the University of Wisconsin. I was telling now Dr. Watt that she's about this tall, so it's, in some ways it helped. Dr. Alice Mcpherson is a world-renowned ophthalmologist who pioneered retinal research and surgery during her distinguished career of more than 40 years. She was the first woman in the United States to become a retinal surgeon and was the only retinal specialist in Houston when she moved here in 1960. She was among the first to treat diabetic retinopathy with laser therapy and is really internationally recognized for pioneering that field. Dr. Mcpherson founded the Retina Research Foundation in 1969 to support retina research. The mission of that foundation is to reduce blindness due to retinal disease by funding programs in research and education. And under her leadership as president and scientific advisor, the foundation has funded more than 1,000 grants and helped launch careers of many of the major vision researchers in the United States and abroad. We're sorry she couldn't be here, but will you please join me in recognizing her contributions? Dr. Lefkowitz is the James B. Duke Professor of Medicine and Professor of Biochemistry and Chemistry at Duke University Medical Center. He has been an investigator of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute since 1976. Originally trained as a physician, he began his research career in the late 60s and is internationally recognized for his groundbreaking discoveries that reveal the inner workings of an important family of G-protein-coupled receptors, for which he was awarded the 2012 Nobel Prize for Chemistry, along with Brian Kobilka, who was also his mentee. Mentoring young scientists has been a passion of Dr. Lefkowitz throughout his career and continues today. His former trainees describe him as devoted to them, as well as their scientific career success. He has trained generations of scientists, many of whom have achieved success nationally and internationally. Dr. Lefkowitz has received numerous awards and honors, including the National Medal of Science. He was elected to the National Academy of Sciences, the Institute of Medicine, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. As a friend and colleague, he is also one of the most humble people I know. He continues to make tremendous scientific discoveries while always making time for his colleagues, his trainees, and his family. And I know personally how much his colleagues appreciate his mentoring, since one of them happens to be my wife, Mary Klopman, who serves as the Dean of the Duke University School of Medicine. So upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Baylor College of Medicine, I confer upon Robert J. Lefkowitz the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters in Medicine and admit you to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges. Thank you very much, Bob. And I'd like to have one final round of applause for all of our awardees today. Thank you. Bob, the podium is yours.
Mr. Loomis, members of the board, Dr. Klopman, distinguished faculty, distinguished guests and honorary degree recipients, graduates, family, and friends. I would like to offer my heartfelt congratulations to all those who will be receiving their MD or PhD degree shortly. I'm honored to have been invited to address you this evening. But please understand that I have absolutely no illusions about my role. Not too long ago, I read that 10 years after graduation, virtually no one remembers who spoke at their commencement. I know that I certainly don't. So at this point, I assume that you are reasonably wondering why I'm up here and whether I've got anything worthwhile to say to you. Let me hasten to assure you, I'm wondering about these things too. As to why I'm up here, I imagine it may be because I won the Nobel Prize a few years ago. What I have learned in my 5 years or so as a Nobel laureate is that this award apparently entitles me to pontificate on virtually any subject at any time, regardless of whether I know anything about it. Moreover, I have learned that most people will take what I have to say much more seriously than is justified by the content of my remarks. With that caveat, I have indeed been racking my brain trying to tease out at least a few pearls of wisdom to bestow upon you. Presumably, there should be some elements discernible in my career that might serve as guideposts for you, things worth emulating, or that I might have learned along the way that are worth imparting to you. What, I have repeatedly asked myself, have I learned in the more than 50 years since I sat, much as you do today, at my own medical school graduation from Columbia in 1966, that might be worth talking to you about? I realized, of course, that such life lessons are not something one ordinarily thinks much about. One is just too busy living them. I'm reminded of something that my favorite philosopher, the former New York Yankees catcher Yogi Berra, once said. When he was asked what he thought about when he was trying to get a hit in a clutch situation. Think, he replied? How the heck are you going to think and hit at the same time? So I have been thinking about it lately. And what I decided I want to talk to you about today is something I don't hear much about these days: the importance and power of experiencing your life's work as a calling. Now, the dictionary defines a calling as, quote, a strong impulse or inclination, a summons to some particular mission, usually one of some social value. But let me amplify on that in terms of my own experience. I've been remarkably fortunate to have felt a calling to two careers in medicine. First, as a physician, and later as a scientist. The notion of a calling is often intertwined with important role models. Almost all successful individuals can readily identify several crucial figures that they encountered early in life or early in their careers who modeled a way of doing things that had immediate and compelling appeal. As a youngster, growing up in the Bronx, New York City, I had at least 4 heroes or role models. The Yankee slugger, Mickey Mantle, the humorist, Woody Allen, the author of the James Bond novels, Ian Fleming, and my family physician, who actually made house calls. In the end, it was the latter role model that ultimately captured my attention and my fancy. From about the 3rd grade on, I never had any doubt that I was destined to be a physician just like him. I loved reading books about doctors, especially novels in which an MD played a central, usually heroic role. Throughout high school and college, I actively looked forward to entering medical school. To me, becoming a member of the medical profession was something very special, perhaps somewhat akin to entering the clergy, in that one was privy to very special knowledge and also bore unique responsibilities. I thoroughly enjoyed my 4 years in medical school, as a house officer at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, as a cardiology fellow at the Massachusetts General Hospital, and as a young professor of medicine at Duke, where I attended cardiology clinic and, until about 10 years ago, still made general medical ward rounds. These were experiences that I will always treasure. They felt perfectly right for me, an expression of my most deeply felt aspirations and the most natural and productive outlet for my own particular abilities and talents. In other words, I experienced the practice of medicine as a calling. I assume that the overwhelming majority of you will spend your careers practicing medicine. The nature of this practice has changed very significantly in the greater than 50 years since I graduated medical school. In this regard, I do hope that the pressures imposed, for example, by the need for extensive documentation of electronic medical records and third-party reimbursements will not too seriously impact your instincts to practice in a compassionate, caring, patient, and devoted way. In my own case, my love for clinical medicine began to evolve into something else. During the early years of my training, I had never really considered that I might become a scientist in addition to a physician. but a 2-year experience at the National Institutes of Health in fulfillment of my draft obligation in the late 1960s during the Vietnam War began to change all that. After a very slow start, during which I displayed absolutely no talent whatsoever at the bench, I began to show some promise. But it would take another 5 to 7 years before it would become clear to me that my primary mission, the real focus of my life's work, would actually lie in the laboratory rather than at the bedside. So how did I ultimately come to realize that perhaps my truest calling was in scientific research? These are not things one figures out with one's head, but rather with one's heart. For example, I realized that, more and more, my thoughts and daydreams at odd times, such as on the drive home from work, were on my experiments, rather than on patients that I had seen in the clinic. Let me hasten to add that I am by no means implying that I believe there is any inherent inconsistency in a career which combines both medical research and practice. Only that for me, this apparently was not the way. That said, I can tell you that despite my singular focus on fundamental research for many decades now, a clinical and physiological perspective informs and guides my research to this very day, and I still maintain an active medical license. So why do I think the experience of a calling is so important? And how does one know if one is launched on one's true path? The first point is that I don't believe that for any individual there is necessarily only one possible best choice. As I mentioned, in my own case, I have felt a calling to at least 2 careers, and I've known many colleagues who have continuously and successfully reinvented themselves in a variety of roles. Of course, one of the wonderful things about a career in medicine and the other health professions on which all of you now embark is that the journey has so many possible itineraries and so many possible destinations. I would hope that none of you will ever feel hemmed in or confined by choices you have made early on. Sometimes these can last a lifetime, but sometimes another aspect of yourselves may play a more prominent role later on. So try to be open to such evolution. So how do you know if you're responding to a true calling, one that is really right for you? I think that there are various diagnostic tests that you may use. Do you feel a passionate engagement in what you are doing? Does it intensely focus your concentration? Do you experience a sense of timelessness when engaged in your work, such that the hours just seem to fly by? Do you often have the sense that your work is not really work at all, but rather just what you were meant to do? Hopefully, in the years ahead, you will be able to answer an emphatic yes to these questions. I think that there are several important elements in this notion of a calling. The first is the simple power of belief in what you are doing and in its importance. This will empower you to achieve, perhaps, more than you ever had imagined possible. The second is the conviction that you were really meant to do this, and that the work fully engages the best of your own innate talent and abilities. In this context, President John F. Kennedy, in a paraphrase of Aristotle, said, "The ancient Greek definition of happiness is the full use of your powers along lines of excellence." Think about that for a minute. The full use of your powers along lines of excellence. This same ideal is found in the Hippocratic Oath, which you will shortly repeat. It says that into whosoever's home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well, to the utmost of my power. A corollary of this is that you are truly following your own path, listening to the stirrings of your own heart, and not doing something that you feel someone else wants you to do. And the third, which flows naturally from the other two, is a sense of enthusiasm for and optimism about what you do. These latter elements are quite infectious. If you follow an academic path, as I have, they will assure that you will be an attractive role model for younger colleagues that come to learn from you. If you're a full-time clinician, they will certainly be much appreciated by your patients. If you're able to tap into this notion of a calling, you will be fortunate indeed, for it holds the key to a career characterized by fulfillment, contentment, and a sense of accomplishment. The simple secret is you just have to believe in it. But of course, there is more to life than work, as you all know. Maintaining a sense of balance between a busy and committed medical career on the one hand and family life on the other can provide a real challenge. But such a balance is crucial if you are to lead a full life. My fondest wish for all of you is that in the years ahead, you will feel, as I have throughout my career, that two of your favorite times of the day are when you leave for work in the morning, anticipating the adventures and challenges that lie ahead, and when you return home in the evening, anticipating your time with your family and leisure pursuits. Now, as I conclude these remarks, I hope that you will not judge them too harshly, but rather will measure them against the yardstick provided by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who is reputed to have said that there are only 3 important rules for public speaking: be sincere, be brief, and be seated. My heartiest congratulations to you all. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to recognize our graduates who have also completed educational certificate tracks. Please hold your applause until all the groups have been introduced. As I introduce the graduates, would you please stand up and remain standing, and then we'll have applause at the end. So those of you who completed a diploma in tropical medicine from the National School of Tropical Medicine. I know there's somebody. Okay, good. Following instructions, stay, okay. Care for the underserved. Don't sit down. Care for the underserved. The ethics track. Genetics. Geriatrics. Global health. Healthcare policy and management. Medical student research. And finally, space medicine. Can I get a round of applause for all of you? Thank you.
Mr. Lummis, Dr. Klopman, I have the high honor and privilege of presenting to you at this time the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. These candidates have satisfactorily completed all of the requirements for the PhD degree, including a research dissertation describing new biomedical knowledge derived from their unique discoveries in their chosen disciplines. On behalf of the faculty of the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, I am pleased to recommend that you confer upon each candidate the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and admit them to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges.
So upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Baylor College of Medicine, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and admit you to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges. Before we begin presenting the degrees, I want to remind you that that there are times in our ceremonies that require a certain level of decorum. I mean, this is serious stuff we do in medicine, and it's very serious getting your PhD. We have all kinds of ceremonies that require everyone to be quiet and be decorous and be thoughtful. This is not one of those times. So feel free to hoot and holler as much as you want. But we'll start the degrees now.
Stephanie Louise Alexander. Benu Uthray. Brittany Marie Barreto. Vitaly Bonder. Amy Elizabeth Brinniger. Felicia Tsao. Muyan Chen. Antonia DeMaio. George Hilton Denfield IV. Timothy Lloyd Dosey. Triparna Ghosh Chaudhary. Derek Maurice Griffin. Caitlin Griskoviak. Corey Francis Rick. Yumei Huang. Shei Chen Chang. Jennifer Lee Johnson. Alyssa Nicole Johnston. Amy Sue Koo. John Preston Leach. Lee Chien Lee. Lala Lee. Dan Leong. Krithika Langapon. Lu Liu. Simran Madan. Kathleen Seeger Manning. Cynthia McClard. Andrea Kathleen Nash. Prasanna Venkatesh Ramachandran. Robert Seelheimer. Thomas Shum. Papiya Sinha Samusundaram. Maureen L. Spouse. Mark Richard Tanner. Hui Ing Tong. Zervu. Yu Meng Wang. Zhen Xia. Wei Xia. Laterica Yarborough. Xiao Ting Yen. Jiani Ying. Ming Kang Chow. Winnie Ilian Zhou.
As a physician, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patients will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not with considerations of age, disease, or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude necessary to healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
Dr. Jennifer Christner, Dean of the School of Medicine, will present the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine.
Good evening. Mr. Lummis and Dr. Klopman, I have the high honor and privilege of presenting to you at this time the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine. They have satisfactorily completed all the requirements for the degree. On behalf of the faculty of the School of Medicine, I am pleased to recommend that you confer upon each candidate the degree of Doctor of Medicine and admit them to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges.
I know it seems technical, but if I don't confer the degrees now, you guys are done. I'm just thinking, I'm pausing for a moment. But actually, upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Baylor College of Medicine, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Medicine and admit you to all its rights, responsibilities, and privileges. Congratulations.
Qasir Ali with high honor. Eric Pear Bacon. Sohini Shri Bandy. John Michael Beckham. Vivek Bika Berchar, with honor. Carrie Diana Bennett, with high honor. Zachary Robert Bennett, with high honor. Christian Henry San Victoris Bernardo. Pratik Bhattacharya. Corey Thomas Bindner. Ashley Rose Blanchard, with high honor. Maria Suzanne Bosley Boomquist. Tristan J. Bodine. Caroline Huff Borwinkle. Hallie Ramby Bradley. Tara Leon Braun. Tyler Joseph Brenneman. Vincent Alexander Brinker, with high honor. Hannah Lee Brown. Matthew Joseph Bruce. Alexander Wagner Buffy, with honor. Justin Michael Cardenas. Kristen Jean Carroll. Ariel Chen. Arina Yevgenyeva Chesnakova. Aaron Yimei Chu. Sharon Cheng. Danielle Linda Clark. Caitlin Rose Comfort. Trissa McClatchy Connors with high honor. Elizabeth Nicole Cook. Arthur Wilson Day. Camille Juliana Davis. Yang. Ariella Candace Marie Derringe. Harish Duramajan. Christopher W. Driscoll. Jessica Teresa D'Souza. Gabriela Jose Espinoza Candelaria. David Christopher Evans. Luis Guillermo Fernandez III with honor. Tiffany Chantal Fleet. Catherine Marie Fondren. Anand Varaksathai Ganapathy. Aravind Srinivasan Ganapathy. Grace Gao. Lucy Chang Gao with honor. Abigail Hook Garbarino with highest honor. Taylor Gilliland. Rachel Ramirez Gilmore. Timothy Andrew Hagan. Sarah Mary Haley. Mark Patrick Hamilton. Lee Salvador Haruno with high honor. Lindsay Ella Heathcock. Catherine McKenzie Hicks. Brandon Joseph Ho. Sarah Elizabeth Horn. Annie Shao. Simo Huang. Cyrus Ahmed Iqbal. Jane Gajour with honor. David Bin Jiang. Brian Christopher Johnston. Ishan Suraj Kamat. Kaveen Anumanta Kenzami. Jalika Kaplan with high honor. Vivek Karoon. Ilyas Kasir. Abdul Basit Khan with honor. Ritha Khan. Karima S. Kamani. Allison Meje Koo with honor. Jonathan Kim. Bradley Alexander Kimbrough. Jaden Shoop Cone. Taylor Poteet Cone. Alexander Vance Culkin with honor. Catherine Elizabeth Costron. Sarah Krasny. Jordan Reyes Krieger. Robert Lane Cruz. Catherine Michelle Kudlady. Joshua Taylor Lackey. Jennifer Un Lee. Christopher Robert Lideline. Daniel Justin Lewis. Karen May Lee. Jonathan Sonway Lin. Michelle S. Lynn. Leanne Marie Little. Matthew Lewis with honor. Sarah Elizabeth Lumsden. Marissa D. Maroff. Hannah Michelle McCloskey. Caroline Watkins McCool. Donald Joseph Mendoza. Victoria Mitre with highest honor. Hussein Mustafa Mogri. Arvind Chintagupala Mohan. Nabil Omar Moon. Young Min Moon. Andrew Murphy. Michael Scott Murray with honor. Hui Dui Win. Captain Patrick Wynn. Tien Bao Peter Wynn. Oluwadolopo Abimbola Oyebadejo. Aishwarya Ventakaraman Parikh. Andres Sabatian Para. Sagar Neelish Patel. Ankita Patro. Zachary James Pettigrew. Emily Lauren Potany. Michael Stephen Poland with high honor. George Vatathara Paulson. Lucy Mingyan Potter. Richard Rajesh Rana with honor. Milan Ravishankar. Alexander Byretti, ready with honor. Paul Rezick. Colin Joseph Rogg with honor. Jasdeep Sabharwal. Umberto Salazar III. Javier Enrique Santiago. Apiksha Saxena. John Hunter Scarborough. Allison Archer Selner with highest honor. Michelle Lynn Seymour. Bina Manish Shah. Abdullah Salim Sheikh. Megan Marie Shed. Walker Douglas Short. John Tucker Sigalos. Mara Alejandra Siglos Rivera. Ryan Lawrence Siller. Angela Song. John Connor Stowe. William Travis Stowe. Cameron Bradley Strong. Alexander Mitchell Tatara with highest honor. Julianne Chen T. Sudeep Dilip Thakkar. Angela Mary Thomas. Dustin Patrick Tobin. Anna Chungche Sang. Jacob Ryan Van Fleet. Renee Deneb Van Wy. Bibin Thomas Varghese with honor. Ben Abraham Varghese. Captain Timothy Joseph Wall. Emma Hobdy Weiss with highest honor. Grace Way. Geneva Rose White with high honor. Jason Whitmer. Ong Zhu. Catherine Yang. Jordan Kohler Yoeli with honor. Christine Michelle Yost. Sarah Elizabeth Wilkin. Roya Zumani. Amos Robert Zimmerman. Maxwell Tran.
Well, congratulations. That was harder than I thought it was going to be for both me and Dr. Watt. So I think the main thing we want to remind you, if you are from now on part of the Baylor family, you are forever Baylor graduates. And when you are in practice and in your communities, just remember that you always will be representing this institution. It's really, really important that you have that weight of importance, and that you understand that your position and this degree, whether you're a PhD or an MD, it confers a lot of privilege, but also a lot of responsibility. So very proud of all of our graduates tonight, and congratulations to all of you. And I'd like you to please stand for the benediction by Dr. Virgil Fry, the Executive Director of Lifeline Chaplaincy, an organization that has been providing spiritual support to Texas Medical Center patients and their families since 1983. Thank you.
Will you join me in prayer? Holy One, you continually call us to live life fully, not by hedonism or self-service, but by lovingly engaging our world, the world you place us in, by caring, compassionate interactions with all of our neighbors. And in doing so, we find mutuality and respect for each other, and you, our God, smile. Tonight, we've enjoyed an impressive ceremony acknowledging completion of intense medical education for these graduates, marking their end of one journey and the launching of new ones,
journeys towards helping, walking alongside those who encounter the brutality of disease, violence, and accidents, those who need and benefit from the beautiful mixture of knowledge of the human body's intricate components and the healing touches of these who have so diligently dedicated themselves to the ever-unfolding mastery of medical care. May these newly graduated doctors and researchers remember the spiritual dimension of their calling, continuing to utilize their highly honed skills to focus on the needs of all patients and caregivers from every walk of life, from every corner of the world, every strata of society, thus empowering each of us as humanity to care and to thrive. For those who provide the resources for this vital education, we are grateful. Baylor board members, donors, professors, staff, families, and friends, and the patients who entrusted their care to these who are in learning mode. Bless us now as we depart this grand celebration of graduation. Walk with us always. We pray in all the wonderful ways you are made known. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Fry, and thanks to all of you for being with us tonight. And at this time, I'd like to ask our graduates to exit the auditorium to the lobby to meet with your family. The audience, if you would please remain in place until all the graduates have exited. That concludes our graduation. Congratulations to all of the families and the graduates.